Well, Hope First Baptist Church family, this is Pastor Brad saying we are back. Boy, we are so excited as a church to have everyone back onto our campus. We have so missed seeing you and hope to see some new faces return as well who have been watching our online services. If you're ready to come back, we are at that place. But for those of you who worship here on a regular basis, let me just remind you, it will be a little different in the next few weeks. We're preparing for all that means. I hope that you're preparing yourself for that as well. In fact, you'll find a link attached in this email that you can click on that will go through guidelines in detail as to how different this Sunday will look. Certainly encourage you that you will go there, read that email in detail. It also talks a lot about what all of you have been doing and serving, and our church still being a great witness to this community. But there's detailed bullet points about what we are going to step into this week. Understand, safety is a high concern to us, and so we want to err on that side for these first few weeks. And so we'll be doing some things out of love thy neighbor type of thinking. We want to help anyone and everyone to come, to feel safe onto the grounds. And so we will follow the CDC guidelines and their recommendations as close as possible. But we don't do that out of fear. We do that, though, out of loving one another and safety for all who are going to come back onto these grounds. And so let me give you some practicalities of what that means. We will practice social distancing, but so many of you are used to doing that already by being out in the community. That means you won't have your same seats that you're used to sitting in, but that's okay. You can look at a different side of me and our worship team, our worship bands. You'll probably be even sitting beside some people who you'll see for the first time. That'll be a great change up. Secondly, the CDC has recommended face coverings. Now, that's a recommendation. It's not a requirement. But let me say this. Our staff and our volunteers who are going to be out in the lobby, in the courtyard and such, we're going to use that as a love thy neighbor type of courtesy. So we'll have our face coverings on when we're out there. Up on the stage, though, we won't be doing that at all. But it doesn't mean we're fearful. Doesn't mean we're buying into a government conspiracy or something like that. We are simply doing that so that we can show love and concern to anybody who comes onto these grounds. But for you, you can decide how you want to do that. The CDC recommends it, but you don't need a face covering to come worship with us here on Sunday morning. The CDC also recommends temperature checks. And so what we're going to ask is that you self-screen at home. Check yourself. If your temperature is over 100, or if you feel ill, or if you've been ill recently, stay home. Watch us online. That'll be fine. If you don't have a thermometer, we will have a table here on the grounds, and you can get checked here with an infrared, no contact thermometer, and we'll help you determine that. We are cleaning everything in this church. In fact, we are going to have the cleanest church in town when you get here on Sunday. We won't be passing the offering plates, but there'll be stations where you can place your offering into there. We'll be doing air high fives and all that type of thing. But I, again, want to encourage you, read the email that I sent out, or click the link and see the email that's going to be in place, and you can kind of go through some of those guidelines. But let me share the biggest kind of challenge that we're going to come up against. The CDC recommended that we only have 100 people in the building per service. And so that does mean that we're going to have some changes here. While I don't agree with that, we'll abide by that for now. It'll be reevaluated in about 3 weeks, and we hope that those numbers will just grow and grow after that. But here's what it means. It means we're going to have an 8 o'clock service that will be traditional. We'll have a 9:30, 11:15 as normal, and we'll also have a 12:45 service on our campus this week. All of those services, all 4 services, will be meeting in the community center. So for those of you who attend the normal traditional service at 8 o'clock, it will not be in the worship center, but it will be on the grounds in the community center, which will help us to social distance and fulfill all these other requirements. But we know that we'll have a great time in each of those services. And what it means is that the first 100 people will get to be in the auditorium with the live worship and such. Then the next 100 people will have the opportunity to either wait for the next service or go to the banquet room, where there'll be a live feed in there, and people will be socially distanced and those types of things. And then the next 40 or 50 people, if we get up to those kind of numbers per service, will get to go over to the large meeting room. So yes, is that the way we want to do it? No, but those are the requirements that have been asked of us by our government. So we simply say, be patient and help us do this in the best possible way. 8 o'clock traditional, 9:30, 11:15, and then 12:45 as well. Now, some of you may say, Pastor Brad, that just feels too different. That's okay. We understand that. If you'd rather say, I'm going to watch you online right now or have a home watch party, that's perfectly fine. But we know that when we put out the survey last week, so many of you said, first opportunity we have, we'll be back. And so we're preparing for that. And so I'm thrilled that our president has encouraged our churches to open up and deeming us essential. We're ready for that. Your surveys have indicated that. Our governor just put some restrictions and limitations onto things, but we'll look at those and reevaluate those over the next 3 weeks. So you can decide what you'd like to do as far as being back on the grounds this week. But we hope that you'll come, and we hope that you will celebrate being in live worship once again. Will be so exciting, and it will be so much fun to see you as well. Let me end with a verse. It's out of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 14. Here's what it says. It says, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, be patient with everyone. And so that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Out of a sense of courtesy and love thy neighbor, be patient with one another as we get used to what this is going to look like for these next few weeks. Remember, it'll be different, but it'll be so exciting to get to worship together, to get to praise our Lord on the grounds, in person with one another. And so for some of you, I'll see you again online, but for others, we look so forward to seeing you on site on Sunday morning. God bless you. We'll see you then.